Willie D, what's good?
What up? What up? Just out
Thank
here
you for
hunting,
coming through.
out here in New York hunting coons.
Good seeing you again, by the way. I haven't seen you since the Beats by Dre party backstage.
Exactly. Yeah, a couple years. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was one of the greatest parties I've ever been to.
It was, man. It was monumental, epic.
Yeah,
as they
just
say.
the amount of talent that was there, like hip hop talent, like scanning almost from the beginning to the current was just incredible.
That was a beautiful thing, man. Whoever was the brain, well, I guess I know who the brainchild was, but that was a good thing. They did a good thing. That was a good night.
Yeah, that was Jimmy Iovine, I guess, put that together.
Yeah. Yeah. Jimmy, I think, but no, what's his name had something to do with it too. What's manager name?
Paul Rosenberg.
Rosenberg, yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, talk about your upbringing. Where did you grow up exactly?
I grew up in Fifth Ward. Yeah. Initially, I was born and brought to Fifth Ward, and I was there for probably about 6 years, and then we moved out, then we moved back in, then we moved out, then we moved back in. So basically, anywhere they let us live, man. You know, I was, I kind of grew up a little bit but it on the north side mainly of Houston, north side.
Okay, and you actually boxed when you were a little kid.
Yeah.
And that led up to you actually being Golden Gloves later on, right?
Yeah, yeah. I started.
Okay, how did you get into boxing initially?
I walked in the gym at the YMCA, and they put me in the ring with their best youngster that was in my age group. He was like 2 years older than me, and he was like probably about 30 pounds heavier than me. And I punched him in the nose, and he quit. So about 2 weeks later, I was fighting. I fought my first amateur fight, and I knocked the dude out in the first round, and they gave me a trophy, and grown folks was cheering and applaud. I mean, they was just like, oh man, like showing me a lot of love. And I was like, damn, that's the first time I ever had beat up somebody, and grown folks like actually appreciated it. And then they gave me a trophy. I was like, shit, I could do this, So that's how I got into it.
Okay, and you actually won the Golden Gloves when you were 17.
Yes, sir. Golden Glove champion, yeah, for the state of Texas.
Mm-hmm. Now, were you just fighting in the ring, or were you fighting out of the ring as well?
Now, when I started boxing, I was mainly fighting in the ring. I hardly ever fought outside of the ring. Because like when you're like, and that's why it's so important for youngsters to get involved in extracurricular activities, things that's gonna take their mind off of the negative stuff, idle stuff. Because when you are involved and you're engaged in these extracurricular activities, you have to be disciplined. And a lot of times that discipline can drain your energy. So a lot of the other little things and petty things you don't even have time to get into, or even you don't even have time to concentrate on, because you're so focused on your craft.
Right. Now, but you got kicked out of school for fighting at one point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got expelled from the whole district. I got kicked out of school many times for fighting, but I got expelled 2 months before graduation for fighting. And I was pissed off at the whole damn North Forest Independent School District, because I felt like, man, I've been fighting all these damn years, getting in trouble all of these years, and y'all been tolerating me and dealing with me, and y'all gonna expel me for good 2 months before graduation. I felt like they could have put me in some type of alternative program like SAC or detention or something like that. The fight that I had that particular day, it was really excessive. I mean, me and the guy that I was fighting, we was really, really trying to tear each other's head off, and we kept breaking loose and coming at each other and going around the principal to fight. And there was like, that's enough, So the assistant principal, whose name was Mr. Horn, he was a big old burly dude. And I pushed the dude on the ground and, just went after the dude again, went after the guy I was fighting. And when it all settled down, we were in the principal's office, and he was like, man, I gotta support my guy. You know, I mean, he's saying that he don't want to deal with you anymore, and you're out of control. I mean, I gotta support him. So I was pissed off for a long time. I wouldn't even go to the school. They was trying to get me to come talk to the kids and all kinds of. I don't want to deal with these people, you know. But it was my fault, you know. I brought that upon myself, and it was a hell of a lesson, because that's one of those situations where even the fight itself was over nothing, you know. Well, I'm defending the honor of my homeboy's girlfriend. You dig? Who turned out to be shit. You dig? Like, so I did all of this for this motherfucker, you know? I'm not my homeboy now, but his girl turned out to be nothing. You dig?
Now during this time, were you involved in any of the street life at all? Were you selling drugs or getting involved in any of that type of shit?
I didn't get. I was in the streets, but not the drug thing. Not at that time. At that time, I was a stick-up kid. Yeah. So, you know, I was going in and getting the bread and coming out with it. So
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, the first time I missed graduation, that's what happened. We was out there trying to get some money, got caught up. So after that, I went back to school, tried to do it again, and then 2 months before graduation, got kicked out, and I was like, man. And at that time, a lot of people still had like this complex, and I'm sure they have today. People have a complex about being the oldest kid at school, and but I really regret that I didn't just say, you know what, fuck what everybody think. I'm finna go back and get it. I'm gonna make this happen no matter what. Just get focused. But it was just hard for me to just stay focused in high school with limited resources. You know, because at that point, my mama stopped cooking. By the time I got in high school, 15 years old, my mama didn't even cook anymore. Like, you come in the house, it may be something in there, it may not be. And very few people were willing to hire a 15, 16-year-old black kid from the hood, including Burger King. Just couldn't get a job. You know how you go in certain areas of town and you see all the little kids of different ethnicities working? That don't happen in the neighborhoods that I'm from. You know, if somebody got a job, they're giving that job to somebody who need that job, like a grown person who got bills to pay.
So were you robbing stores or were you actually robbing people?
No, I never felt like it was any real money in robbing people, but you know, I did some things, man. I really don't even want to get into all of that, really, how, you know, who and what and where and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I went in, I went, basically the places I went to all had safes. I put it like that.
Okay, banks. Maybe not. Okay, so you win the Golden Gloves at 17.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times when people win the Golden Gloves, especially at a very young age, they're on their way to going pro. Like, what happened after that?
Rap happened. I was flourishing in rap. At the time, I was doing real good. I was winning a lot of battles in the city. And I felt like I had to make a choice. It came down to making a choice. What was I gonna rap or was I gonna box? And I thought about it. I was like, the way I reasoned with myself is I said, well, the girls love rap, the girls love boxing. The girls love money. You know, you can make a lot of money in boxing, you can make a lot of money in rap. But at the end of the night, I don't have any headaches when I rap. So I chose rap. Now, the thing is that I was always cognizant of the fact that I could be mortally injured in the ring. Because I had seen examples of boxers who just didn't have it all anymore. And if they survived, they just did not have it anymore. They were lost. And I didn't want to be one of those dudes. So that was always in the back of my head. But the biggest thing that was, the biggest and the foremost thing for me was using one of those talents to get out of the hood and get some real money. Because I wanted to have kids. And I felt like one of the reasons why, the biggest reasons why I was angry and doing a lot of mad things was because of insufficient living. I didn't want to bring any kids into the world that had to go without. I wanted to make sure my kids have the best. I didn't want to put my son in a situation where he had to go out and try to become the man that I wasn't, try to fill my shoes too early. And there's a time for our boys to fill our shoes. There's a time to pass the torch. 15 years old is not that time. You know, a lot of our boys, you know, they're 20 years old, 20, 22, 23, 24, and they're still trying to figure it out. So you damn sure better believe they don't know what the hell they're doing at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. So it's incumbent upon me, I felt, to make sure that I provided a good living for my children, make sure that I was economically stable before I brought any kids into the world.
I'm a fan of Drake. I'm a fan of the idea of Drake. So no disrespect against Drake.
What do you mean by the idea of Drake? What does that mean?
Meaning that if he has a ghostwriter, he's an idea. He's not meaning that it's a perception created that he's not really writing the lyrics, and it's just like here, let's make this in the factory and put it out.
I'm just on top of my game right now, Vlad, and I'm just getting blessed. I'm booked 4 or 5 times a week, 60, 75K a show, man. I'm winning right now, man, and I'm just steady trying to increase my hustle.